Greetings and salutations, MegaWizard79 here with a short little channel update. Figured I'd just do some grinding while doing this, so you guys have something to see. Anyway, so for those of you who might have noticed, a few of the playthroughs that I started kind of you know,
Is this an item?
I guess oops. I keep forgetting. Anyway, but yeah, like, I've sort of, gone into, I guess, limbo, if you will, so to speak. Yeah, like, these include, like, Subnautica, let me think, Subnautica, like, well, Fort of Goddesses Online, technically, I suppose. Granted, of course, I guess that... Granted, I guess it doesn't supposedly count at this moment, because I am sort of playing it. But, Subnautica for one, definitely. Then there's also, Code's Vein. Haven't played that for a little while. Nier, for sure. Haven't played that in a little while. You know, and a few others, like, oh yeah, Data Live. Yeah, I sort of just started that, and then, yeah, that kind of, burned out pretty quick. Granted, of course, all all of these that I'm mentioning, the ones that, for the most part, I'm mostly, you know, voicing, like right now. For the most, as I've stated before in a few of my videos, my living conditions don't really make, doing these types of recordings feasible at times, because of the simple fact of, well, I don't live alone in this house. I have a sister and 3 very noisy children. So yeah, finding appropriate time to basically record in a quiet space, if you will, is kind of a premium here. Normally that means that I kind of have to stay up insanely late, usually into the wee hours of the morning, and then pretty much record from then. And what do you call it? And I don't just mean, like, you know, doing like a simple one and done kind of thing. Like, no, I'm talking about like basically doing a huge backstock, just for the simple fact that, well,
is this an
unlike, I mean, like most of you, I would assume, well, probably maybe not right now, but I would assume that basically most of you, work in the morning. You know, so, in my case, I work at 4 in the morning, and, yeah,
I found something.
by the time I get home, I'm kind of too tired to really, want to do any real recordings or anything like that, which is why basically on my days off, which fluctuate, unfortunately, I don't really have a set schedule all the time. Usually I can guarantee having Wednesdays off, but, you know, such is the, life of working at, Walmart. But, yeah, pretty much, you know, due to the relative inconsistency of my time off, as well as also my sleep schedule, because of the aforementioned children, yeah, it's, not easy to, squeeze these in, as well as maintain a decent, you know, what do you call it? Like, you know, basically maintain a feasible, sleeping schedule. Not to mention also, you know, as a responsible adult, I have other things that require my immediate attention most of the time. You know, like at the end of the day, as much as I would love for this to probably turn into a job, maybe, it just isn't. I have a, I do have a 9-to-5 job, so to speak. So yeah, gotta prioritize that above everything else, because otherwise, well, I'll leave that to your imaginations. But yeah, so, you know, as a result, basically, like, you know, those recordings that require me to do things like this, you know, basically talking and whatnot, they kind of, well, just slip through the cracks, unfortunately. You know, I try my best to try and fit them in and find some way to do it, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I just have other things that require my time, or just, you know, other things that I personally like doing more, so to speak. But yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, though, because, what is it, like, sorry. Can you tell that this isn't scripted? Anyway, essentially what I'm just trying to say, though, is that, basically, like, most of those games, the reason they just aren't being uploaded is because of the simple fact of, well, I just can't find a decent amount of time where I can do enough of the recordings so that I, you know, have a decent stockpile, as well as also maintain my day-to-day activities and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, fortunately though, what is it? Like, you know, I do have some. I have been experimenting lately with silent playthroughs. Like, for example, I was kind of on a binge of just playing. Man, I hate these mushrooms. Ugh. But yeah, I've kind of been on a binge of playing Crystar just because of the simple fact of, well, that game, all it requires for me is just to turn it on and just play. And it's really easy to record. I have a system down for that one. It's super simple. It doesn't matter if the entire zoo gets released in my house, because that one doesn't require any... It requires almost nothing from me, except just to play it. Plain and simple. I mean, I would love... that one in particular, I enjoy playing. It's a really fun game. I mean, it is a little repetitive and whatnot, but I really enjoy it just for the simple fact of the, overall dynamic between the characters and whatnot, and the story it's trying to tell. And, frankly, it's all pretty relatable. So to speak, like, you know, like the fears and the fears and the anxieties that those characters are going through are things that most of us experience on a day-to-day basis, so to speak. You know, basically grappling with family, grappling with personal losses, the what do you call it? Like, you know, difficult living conditions or whatnot, you know, like all these things, which make for a really good story in my eyes, anyway. I mean, I understand that that type of game probably wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. It's definitely more intended for a niche. Basically, you know, like a niche community, but I like it, and frankly, it's because I like it so much that I can just, you know, just keep playing it. You know, even if I'm bone tired a little bit and, you know, I should be sleeping instead of playing, but it's like, I really want to get to the next progression point, so to speak. Thank goodness, I swear. I have a bigger vocabulary, guys, I really do. I just, when I'm talking in the moment, it just devolves into this, where I'm just repeating the same adjectives and verbs over and over and over again and whatnot. So, but yeah, pretty much at the end of the day, though, that's kind of the reason why I haven't really been doing much commentary videos and mostly just doing Crystar, because, you know, as I have already stated a few times, it's really easy to record that. Just, you know, put the, you know, just put the game into my system and play it. Nothing can be simpler. The heck? There we go. That was weird. But yeah, oh boy. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, and this devolved really quick. Yeah, in regards to my overall commentating. Anyway, but yeah, so long story short, you know, it's not that I don't have a desire to keep playing those games. I mean, that's not necessarily entirely true. I mean, some of them are relatively because I've lost interest. Like, for example, Nier, you know, I tried sort of spicing things up a teeny bit by, you know, doing the whole, you know, like, basically, director's commentary, if you will. You know, after I do a recording, because Nier, like, pretty much like Crystar, also is just a silent playthrough, just plain and simple. Mostly because of the fact of, well, there's really nothing that I can necessarily talk about, at least, in a meaningful way. You know, it's, like, because for the simple fact, it's just, yeah, it's just your typical post-apocalyptic universe, and you're just basically trying to eke out a living, so to speak. So, yeah. As a result, there's just nothing really interesting to talk about in Nier. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's kinda how it is. Which is why I tried to spice things up with the whole, you know, doing the side commentary after the fact. You know, just basically explaining what I was doing in the moment and whatnot. Unfortunately, though, there's... Again, it's just, wow, man, wow. I didn't lose a single person. Yay, go me! And this is actually like my weaker squad. Yes, I got what I wanted! Sweet. But, yeah.
We're heading back.
You know, pretty much there's just... there just wasn't really anything to necessarily talk about, unfortunately. Even doing like a sort of commentary after the fact and just, you know, explaining what was going through my head and whatnot. So, you know, as a result, I was really stuck between a rock and a hard place when it came to that.
Is this what you want? Let's do
There
this.
we go. Yes, just what I wanted. Okay, let me see, is this better? No, it's still not better, and I need another one? I thought I have... What? Didn't... Okay, so it wants me to get another earring and more raw... Okay. Sure, why not?
Welcome to the cathedral.
Anyway, let's see. I did this one. Yeah, it was this one.
Is this all right? I should have made
Just
the
do that.
goddesses
Might as well just head back there real quick. But yeah, the you know, like, it's just that there's just really nothing to really say, even in that sort of situation, just because, well, nothing, you know, apart from the fact of me just being like all like, oh man, like I really hate the hacking, like the hacking in that game is just so frustrating. It's really hard. It's just not really my type of game, you know, like it's just not my cup of tea. Like, just the way it like the way you're supposed to do it, the way it feels and all that. It's just, it's utter chaos for me. It's just complete and total noise. And honestly, I think in some situations it's just kind of unfair. You know, what necessarily is happening. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I could talk about stuff like that, but I mean, I don't know. After a while, it just kind of gets relatively boring, I suppose. Just you know, just complaining about the same thing over and over, and that's the only thing you have going for you. And yeah. Case in point, I really hate these mushrooms with a passion.
Here we
But you know, if I just keep like so far I've only talked about so far I've only really complained about them twice in this video, you know, and you know, if I do it one more time, then sure, that's fine, you know, the rule of threes and whatnot. But my goodness, that would get so old so fast if all I did was just complain about those mushroom enemies and their stupid spin attack, which is really annoying, by the way. Oh, and since we're on the topic of annoying enemies, for the most, as I have said, I really do like Crystar. It's a really fun game. But my goodness, the one enemy that just makes the game so unfun for me is those god-forsaken spellcasters. I hate them. They are just so annoying. They're like, when they're normal enemies, they're relatively fine, as long as there's not too many of them. Which is not always the case. Sometimes they're usually in pairs, sometimes in really bad situations there's like 4 of them, and then in really bad situations there's 6 of them, and it's like, are you kidding me? And then they're just like all in like a daisy chain, and you get, it is so annoying, and they are just garbage enemies. I hate them so much. But yeah, but I really hate the what is it like? But when they go from being just bothersome to unnecessarily tedious is when they are bosses. Because when they are bosses, they have, you know, boss level health, which is unfair. And let me tell you why. Because they become tanky as all hell, and their damage is increased, and they can hit you from halfway across the stage without you ever seeing them. Because you know, you got a camera like this where you can only see so much of the screen at the time, and they can attack you, and you know, unlike you know, like how in most games when you're like this, usually all the assets behind you, like that mountaintop and over there, in some games those don't exist when you're not looking at them. Like the game will physically unload them to save on time, you know, for, you know, resource managing purposes, which makes sense. It makes the game run smoother, so you're not, you know, so it's not wasting time having something loaded that you're not even looking at. That's not the case in that game, because, you know, it doesn't just unload the enemies when you're not looking at them, because, well, I mean, that'd be so convenient, but my goodness, I don't think it would work from a design standpoint. I mean, it probably could, but I don't know, I feel like it would be too abusable. But still, because of that, they just can attack you when your back is turned, which is cheap. It is cheap, and they deal more damage than most enemies do with their special attacks, and that's just annoying. I can't, like, they're basically the reason why I go through so many items in that game. Like, they are the main reason why I just stockpile all those things that just, you know, because you see, because the problem is that their attacks, they either just do normal damage, or they, basically have a debuff attached to them. The issue is, you don't know when, you know, when it's just a normal attack and when it's a debuff, because it comes in 3 different colors, green, red, and blue, but it basically, like, you know, like sometimes I can get, you know, sometimes you can get hit with a green one and then you get a debuff, other times you can get hit with another green one and nothing happens, it's just damage, and I'm like, well, like, is this like a percentage-based thing, or is this just basically, like, you know, the game just screwing with me, like, what's going on here? Like, seriously, like, that is so frustrating. Gosh, I just had to get that off my chest. I really hate those enemies. They just ruin the experience for me. They are just so annoying. Double kill. Oh boy. But yeah.
I found something.
What do you call it? But yeah, but all in all, I really like the game. I just hate that enemy. But, you know, but after a while, though, you know, me just complaining about that would just get old really, really quick. It's kind of like why, okay, 3rd time, and, no more. I hate these mushrooms so much. Gosh, just die. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway. But yeah, So, what do you call it? But yeah, but that's kind of the reason why, for the most part, I don't really, you know, it's mostly the reason why I kind of took down all my Dark Souls 3 videos. You know, for those of you who were here when I had that, I pretty much got all the way to, if I recall correctly, let me think. I think it was, yeah, I think I got all the way to, damn it, how far did I get? I know I got pretty far. Yeah, I think I got as far as, Ilium Lois? I'm pretty sure that's as far as I got. Wait, no, is it Ilium Lois? Or... And I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember if... Let's see... I think it is Ilium Lois. Yes, Ilium Lois. That's the place. Sorry, I was confusing it with Ariandel for a sec. But yeah, Ilium Lois. I think I got as far as there. I don't think I either did or didn't beat Pontiff Sullivan. And then at one point I just kind of, you know, like after looking over my recordings and whatnot, I just kind of, I wasn't happy with it, because for the most part it was just, I felt like it was just more me complaining about things and me actually playing the game. So, you know, from a, you know, content creator standpoint, I felt like that was poor quality and it really shouldn't stand. Normally, I would have probably kept it for the sake of posteriority, but I kind of had the intention of doing it again anyway, so I just took it off. You know, just for the sake of like, well, I mean, I'm gonna play it again anyway, so it's probably better that I just get rid of this garbage one and then just, you know, actually devote the space for when I actually do, you know, basically just redo, you know, just play it again. Oh, now I remember, yeah, it was a combination of me just not being, yeah, it was like a combination of me just basically sort of not really, basically, enjoying how I was, commentating, but also the fact of just my overall playstyle. Because I was playing as like a cleric, and well, I never played as a cleric before, and well, it was really kind of boring. I mean, I understand that basically being a spellcaster usually means that, you know, it's sort of, you know, you're kind of unnecessarily powerful, but for me, I just couldn't balance the, you know, like, you know, like I had a hard time trying to balance the physical combat as well as the magical combat, and you know, with clerics you kind of can't really focus on one or over the other, for the simple fact that you don't really have that many tools to use. And I know this because, well, I didn't get, because you see, I platinumed that game, off camera, unfortunately, but yeah, I platinumed that game, like, I think like a year ago now. But yeah, like that was the first game I ever platinumed, and let me tell you, getting all the cleric spells is not particularly easy. And arguably not really that much fun either. But yeah, what do you call it? But yeah, as a result, I just didn't really have that big of a toolbox. I felt kind of underpowered. And, well, like, it just wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun for me playing that way. I didn't like it. Like, at all. So, I just decided to, you know, just, you know, quit while I was ahead and just, get rid of it. Oh, well, oh yeah, that's right. This is, like, the one boss that actually, like, does status effects. That's how rare that is, mind you. You know, just, and the effects don't even last that long, either. It's kind of sad, really. Like, you know, I always come into these fights, like, pretty well prepared, like, stocked with, like, decent, you know, like healing ointments and stuff. The issue is, though, is that basically a majority of the items, they mostly just, you know, like, they mostly only heal the character you're currently playing as, which is kind of a bummer, because, you know, there's, like, no party healing items. I mean, there are, but they're not really that common, and they're kind of expensive, so it just kind of deters you from using them. And I always feel like this guy glitches out so much. Anyway, but yeah, all in all, that's pretty much, you know, like, that's pretty much the highlights I wanted to focus on, you know, that, you know, like, I just haven't really been doing many playthroughs, really, because, well, it's kind of hard to find a good timetable. Like, even right now, like, this is a rarity where my house is, like, empty. Like, there's no one here right now. But yeah, you know, is what it is, unfortunately. I mean, I'm going to try and get back, you know, get back into the swing of things, but, you know, I can't really make any promises, and, you know, honestly, like, you know, like, they're just, what is it, like, you know, like, at the end of the day, once I sort of, kind of, just stop playing something, most of the time that usually means I probably won't go back to it. Sometimes. Not always, but, you know, like, it's just, is what it is, and I don't think I got any drops off him. That blows. Oh, well. But, yeah. You know, it is what it is. I do have one, one good thing to bring up. So basically my channel, it pretty much started off with this one playthrough, Knights of Azure. So, I only got so far in that, unfortunately. Yeah, like, I think I only did, like, just a little over 20 episodes. I don't even know if I even got to 20. But, yeah, it's, like, one of the oldest playthroughs I have there. It's probably, like, a year or so old now. But, yeah, but I am planning to actually revitalize that series. And just, you know, start from the beginning, whole new thing. And I'm thinking of, basically, you know, this is sort of a thing that I've been, considering when it comes to, like, games like Crystar or even Data Live for an extent. Because there are so many cutscenes, you know, just basically characters just constantly talking and things just happening all the time, and since that game is kind of hard to, you know,
Hey, welcome.
basically, you know, figure out a proper recording cycle, if you will, by which I mean, like, it's hard to figure out when to stop and when to start the recording, just because, you know, things, I guess, how do I put this, like, because, what is it, like, you know, it's, you know, like, because, like, the stages are relatively long, the bosses are kind of an endurance run, and to top it all off, you know, the cutscenes can be pretty long. Like, we're talking, like, close to 10 minutes apiece. But it's a really, it is a really fun game, and I really do like the story. So I am wholeheartedly planning on jumping back into that and actually finally finishing it. You know, so look forward to that if you're interested. But yeah, other than that though, I guess I have nothing really much else to say except that. So yeah, please, I beg you, just bear with me. I'm going to, you know, like, once this is, you know, like, once things are taken care of and I can actually get into a proper, rhythm, then I promise you I will have a good amount of content to just basically keep pumping out. You know, until that time though, I do have a fair amount already. I mean, I have a playthrough of Skyrim, which is like over 20 videos, like, you know, and that's the whole enchilada from beginning to end. You got basically every guild quest, a good majority of some of the high quality side quests, all the Daedric quests, the DLC, as well as also the main quest and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, if you want to see that, I got that there. You know, basically I have a fair amount also of the, Cyberdimension Neptunia, got that. What other full long playthroughs? I also have some Toho playthroughs, which I am planning on basically doing more of those games, just because, well, I'm a huge fan of the Toho franchise. It's really cool. But yeah, you know, like, I have a fair amount of stuff. I also have a full boss run video of Dark Souls 3, with the exception of just 2 bosses, just because, well, in New Game Plus 4, they are kind of bastards. I.e. Dark Eater Madir and Slave Knight Gale. But with the exception of those 2, I got every other boss beaten. Some of them in record time, in my eyes. But yeah, so, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So, until next time, though, this is Mega Wizard 79 bidding you all adieu.